Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. I tried to do a little thing with some music. I'm trying to learn the software and the ins and outs of this software and how a lot of things work here. But, yeah, not doing too well. I kind of boomered it up there. Oh, excuse me. Was kind of trying to get a snack in before I went live. So here we are. It is Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. I'm a little earlier than I usually am on Wednesdays, and we have a whole lot of stuff to cover. So let's go ahead and get the whiskey poured and get right into the topics. Today's whiskey is, once again, we're doing Larceny 1870 small batch, 92 proof. So let's get a nice little glass of that poured. And, excuse me. And jump right on into the topics for the day. We have a ton. Okay, sorry. So let's go ahead and start off where we finished off. My last stream, I was covering the Twitter files. And most particularly Twitter files, the fourth dump by Michael Schellenberger. There was a lot of conversation leading up to and a lot of internal chatter in Twitter about trying to deplatform President Trump and whether or not some of the behaviors he did between the election and some of the things he said between the election and January 6th was enough to warrant him to be deplatformed. And so we're going to pick that right back up with the last couple of tweets from Michael Schellenberger. Let's get right into it. Okay, so here we have recall from Twitter files number 2 from Barry Weiss that according to Twitter staff, we control visibility quite a bit. And we control the amplification of your content quite a bit, and normal people don't know how much we do. So that's a link back to the Barry Weiss from the second Twitter files. So here we go. Twitter employees recognize the difference between their own politics and Twitter's terms of service, but they also engage in complex interpretations of content in order to stamp out prohibited tweets as a series of exchanges over the Stop the Steal hashtag reveal. And so here you see Yoel Roth, and I will do a show where I'll dig into a little bit of some of the things that people have uncovered about Yoel Roth. I'm going to try to make sure I do a little research between now and probably next Wednesday, maybe next Saturday. Not going to be this Saturday because I'm not going to have enough time to do that deep dig. But Yoel Roth and a lot of people have dug up a lot of stuff about Yoel Roth and some of the things that have been uncovered. You'll be shocked. But that's not today's show. Anyway, so we got random Twitter employee, hey, hope you're doing okay. Have we already discussed blocking the Stop the Steal hashtag? It's furthering fake news in a dangerous way from what I can tell. Hey there. We're proactively surfacing that content for review under civic integrity, and it should be blocked from Typehead and Trends. If you're seeing it in either of the latter two, let me know ASAP and PT can fix. I just saw the hashtag and then did a search on it. All the content was appalling. Allow me to clutch my fucking pearls. So I don't think it's showing up elsewhere. Thank you for all you're doing. I'll flag it to the election squad. Remember that what I find appalling and what is a terms of service violation is not exact overlap. And then Yoel Roth, heh. Okay. Roth immediately DMs a colleague to ask if they add Stop the Steal QAnon conspiracy term crack into a black list of terms to be de-amplified. Roth's colleagues objects that blacklisting Stop the Steal risks de-amplifying counter speech that validates the election. So there's a lot going on. Any objections to adding Stop the Steal and Kraken? If they're not there already, the daylight separating Q and Stop the Steal stuff is now effectively zero. Kraken for sure if it's not already there. I'm worried about de-amplifying counter speech with Stop the Steal. Ack. Roth's colleague, a quick search
Shut up, silly woman.
Got yeah, I got Trump as my text message thing. Okay, so that's the same screenshot. But anyway, turns out that even blacklisting Kraken is less straightforward than they thought. That's because Kraken, in addition to being QAnon conspiracy theory, is based on the mythical Norwegian sea monster, is also the name of a cryptocurrency exchange and thus was allow listed. There's an app called Kraken app or something.
Shut up,
oh, there.
Silly woman.
Okay, I am muting the phone. Sorry, should have done that before the stream. Allow listed, for what it's worth. Employees struggle whether to punish users who share screenshots of Trump's deleted January 6 tweets. We should bounce these tweets with a strike given the screenshot violates policy. They're criticizing Trump, so I'm a bit hesitant with applying a strike to this user. So they're talking about should they get rid of Democrats and leftists who are reposting Trump's banned tweets in order to criticize them. But because the banned tweets are being reshared and they're banned info. Anyway. So yeah, they can't even agree that's okay because you're still spreading Trump's words. What if a user dislikes Trump's and objects to Twitter's censorship? The tweet still gets deleted, but since the intention is not to deny the election result, no punishing strike is applied. If there are instances where the intent is unclear, feel free to raise. Around noon, a confused senior executive in advertising sales sends a DM to Roth. Jack says we'll permanently suspend Trump if our policies are violated after a 12-hour account lock. What policies is Jack talking about? Roth says any policy violation. So here we go. I'm asking because we are getting tons of calls from clients following Facebook and Instagram's decision, so some clarity would be great, thanks. And then, hey, for JP, for internal awareness, this would be any policy violation, not just limited to elections. But before sharing anything, please coordinate with so-and-so on the comms side. Obviously, a ton of interest in our position on this. Want to ensure we stay aligned. What happens next is essential to understanding just how Twitter justified banning Trump. Are we dropping the public policy interest now? In this specific case, we're changing our public interest approach for this account. So, yeah, one last question. In the past, we've exempted policy violation from a world leader due to public interest value. Are we dropping the public interest now, and any new violation could trigger for me to understand? Again, we'll check with comms regarding what we can and cannot share publicly. Apologies for the slow reply. I've been back-to-back all day today. In this specific case, we're changing our public interest approach for his account. And you notice they throw that his. They're personifying the Twitter account. You know, we're talking about accounts. And so they could say this account, that account, this specific account. No, they used his account. Pretty neutral from Yoel Roth here. We're changing our public interest approach for his account to say any violation would result in suspension. We aren't completely getting rid of the public interest approach, though we do have work planned on revisions in H1 2021. At present, we limit exemptions to one critical type of public interest content, tweets from elected and government officials, blah, blah, blah. Given the significant public interest knowing and being able to discuss their actions and statements. So that's the policy the ad rep was referring to. Roth pushes for a permanent suspension of Matt Gaetz, even though it doesn't quite fit anywhere. Duh. It's kind of a test case for the rationale for banning Trump. I'm trying to talk Twitter's safety team into removal as a conspiracy that incites violence. So what's the latest on Antifa claims? Anything brewing policy-wise? C is yelling from other room that we should just ban Gaetz. Yeah, SP and SI are working on that. It doesn't quite fit anywhere, duh, right? But I'm trying to talk to safety into treating it as incitement. I think will get over the line for removal as a conspiracy that incites violence. Vijaya was directionally okay with it. 2:30 comms exec DM Roth says they don't want to make a big deal of the QAnon ban to the media because they fear if we push this, it looks like we're trying to offer up something in place of the thing everything wants, meaning a Donald Trump ban. So yeah, we're good either way. We'll discuss generally in the space of let's start taking action and not do a big comms push around this. We can explain why if we're asked, but worry if we push this, it looks like we're trying to offer up something in place. Wow. So yeah, they're working on banning Trump. They're going to ban QAnon stuff in the meantime, but they don't want to tell the media they're banning QAnon because then they don't want to look like they're too chicken shit to ban Donald Trump to the media. Let's see, how much further does this go? For some reason, I felt this was a lot shorter when I skimmed it the other day. That evening, Twitter engineer DMs Roth to say, I feel a lot of debates around exceptions stem from the fact that Trump's account is not technically different from anyone else, and yet it's treated differently to his personal status without corresponding Twitter rules. Stem from the fact that Trump's account is not technically different from anybody else, and yet it's treated differently due to his personal status without corresponding Twitter. See, to clarify the responsibilities that should come with that status. So earlier we heard that they had a policy around world leaders, that world leaders got certain special exemptions because of the public relations involved in being a world leader. And they're saying now that if we have to take action because we would take action in the event of anyone else's account. You know, they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth here. I think you're spot on to put a different spin on it. Policy is one part of the system, how Twitter works. There are different things you can do or you can change when you want to affect different behaviors. So they're just flat out admitting that they'll change their policy. Sorry, going to stop right there. They're flat out admitting that they're going to change policy to change the behaviors of the public, of you and me. They will change their policies if they can affect the way you and I behave. Boom! Right there is a tacit admission to all the bullshit from Twitter. To the fact that they use these social media programs to manipulate behaviors. Policy and enforcement are one. The product is another. Partnerships and outreach are another, etc. And all of that is situated in a bigger system, i.e. the world, which influences how everything else operates in practice. When you change one part of the system, you necessarily have to adapt to the rest. And I think we ran into the world changing faster than we were able to either adapt the product or the policy, but we can and should do both, not directly. Wow. The evening of January 7th, the same junior employee who expressed an unpopular opinion about ad hoc decisions that don't appear rooted in policy speaks up one last time before the end of the day. This was in a previous tweet where he was worried that where there was one employee that was worried that Twitter was getting into a slippery slope by taking one-off decisions that only affect one account, etc., etc., and, we're pretty much shut down. Here we go. My concern is specifically surrounding the unarticulated logic of the decision by Facebook. That's the space that fills with the idea, conspiracy theory, conspiracy fact after this shit, that all social media heads and internet moguls at every layer sit around like kings casually deciding what people can and cannot see, and it's unhelpful to the internet ecosystem as a whole. Again, this is my humble opinion only. I'm going to cheers to that Twitter employee. I hope you're still employed there because fucking no one else deserved it. for you to state the obvious in the midst of an echo chamber of people who just wanted their belief system promoted and people shut down. Anyway. All right. Cheers. The employee notes that later in the day, and Will Ormus noticed the inconsistency too, linking to an article at 10 at Medium called Facebook Chucked Its Own Rulebook to Ban Trump. And the article's in the Twitter thread. We're not going to cover that article here. You can go read it. And really the rest of this thread kind of speaks to that. But it's exactly what you'd expect. They're criticizing Facebook for doing exactly what Twitter's doing in this thread. They're criticizing Facebook for making a one-off exemption to their rules so that they could specifically call Donald Trump dangerous and remove him from their platform. And so, yeah, here we go. Facebook's suspension of Trump now puts Twitter in an awkward position. If Trump does indeed return to Twitter, the pressure on Twitter will ramp up to find a pretext on which to ban him as well. And he says, as Barry Weiss will show tomorrow, that's exactly what happened. Again, that was back on the 10th, so 4 days ago. Barry Weiss did tweet, actually 2 days later, not tomorrow, but it was 2 days later, Barry Weiss continued the Twitter files. We'll try to catch those back up a little later in this show, but let's jump right on into the next story. How y'all feel about Weirdos? Well, so here we go from Catch Up Network on Twitter. Alejandra Carabello, who's kind of a popular-ish transgender activist on Twitter, was invited to Congress to testify over extremist rhetoric and hate speech. So let's hear a little bit. We got 2 different clips of Miss Carabello interacting with some of our Congress critters over interesting stuff here. So let's go ahead and watch this clip.
Is rhetoric on social media a problem and a threat to our democracy, Mr. Ward?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Caraballo?
Yes.
Ms. Nomani?
Yes.
Ms. Tyler?
Yes.
Another question I have, do you
These are all
believe
activists.
that rhetoric targeting officials with violence for carrying out their constitutional duties is a threat to democracy, Mr. Ward? Mr. Siegel?
Okay, sorry, I was talking over it. She asked if threatening public officials with violence over doing their constitutional duties was a threat to democracy. Now, understand, this congresswoman is using their fucking language. Using their language of speech to violence and threats to democracy. Now watch this shit. Watch the fucking flip. Watch the fucking caught you fucking hypocrite shit that's about to happen.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Only a few weeks after the attempted attack on a Supreme Court justice on June 25th, one of the witnesses, Alejandra Caraballo, tweeted out the following in response to a decision on abortion overturning Roe v. Wade, and I'll quote directly from the tweet. The 6 justices who overturned Roe should never know peace again. It is our civic duty to accost them every time they're in public. They are pariahs. Since women don't have their rights, these justices should never have a peaceful moment in public again.
Ha! Gotcha, bitch! Fucking receipts! Fucking receipts from a fucking congresswoman in a congressional committee. That you're fucking guilty just as much of the hate and the violent rhetoric and the speech to violence and all this bullshit that y'all preach. You're just as fucking guilty, if not more. You're all cry bullies. You like to bully other people over their beliefs and their opinion and their lifestyle, but when it comes to your lifestyle, oh, you can't be fucking touched. Bullshit.
I know something about being accosted. The night of January 5th, I was physically accosted on the streets of D.C. in Navy Yard by a constituent of mine. I fervently blamed rhetoric on social media, rhetoric at public events, for being physically accosted. I carry a gun everywhere I go when I am in my district and I'm at home, because I know personally that rhetoric has consequences. I've had my car keys.
So I don't agree with this, Crazy people are going to be crazy people. You're always going to have crazy people wanting to involve themselves in the lives of public figures, whether there's rhetoric online or not. And there will always be rhetoric even if you ban all the fucking hate speech from all major social media platforms. If you make it illegal, no matter what you do, there will still be some people that will find a way to talk shit about a public figure online and generate hateful comments toward them. I mean, you're talking 1984 stuff, but anyway, I'm going to continue.
I've had my house spray painted. I had someone trespass in my house as recently as August. I've been doxxed on social media.
The internet
about where
is
I
not
live.
responsible for psychos.
And I've had to add to security everywhere I go. Often, because I can't afford it, I have to carry my own firearm wherever I go. And Alejandra Caraballo also recently tweeted on November 19th, not even a month ago, that the Supreme Court, vested with the judicial power of the United States by our Constitution, stated they are not a legitimate court issuing decisions. And also the Supreme Court is an organ of the far right. So my last question today of Ms. Caraballo, do you stand by these comments, this kind of rhetoric on social media? And do you believe it's a threat to democracy?
Thank you, Representative, for the opportunity to clarify and provide context to my tweets.
I have a question, is it yes or no? Do you believe your rhetoric is a threat to democracy when you're calling to accost a branch of government, the Supreme Court?
I don't believe that's a correct characterization
What
of
you
my
tweeted,
statements.
though.
What
Did you
the
not
fuck?
tweet that?
If that's
You
not
thought
correct,
that
what
the
is?
Supreme Court justices should be accosted.
What I'm
you
saying
tweet
is
that,
that
yes or
that is
no?
not an
Did you tweet
accurate characterization of my statements.
On June 8th of this year, a man was arrested near Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home in Maryland. He told law enforcement officers he wanted to kill a Supreme Court justice. He was found with a knife, with a pistol, 2 magazines, ammunition, pepper spray, zip ties, a hammer, crowbar, and duct tape.
Ms. Caraballo, on page 12 and 13 of your written testimony, you painted concerned parents as having been infiltrated
This
by
is
white
good, too. This is the
nationalists
second
and
clip.
far-right militia groups, which played a significant role in school board protests. This has not actually been my experience with concerned parents. In your testimony, you wrote that in Loudoun County, Virginia, unfounded rumors that spread in local parent groups on Facebook about an alleged trans student sexually assaulting a girl in a bathroom led to a firestorm of several heated school board protests that descended into violence. But in fact, the perpetrator, it actually turned out, had committed 2 sexual assaults at 2 different Loudoun County schools in 2021 and was arrested on October 7th, 2021 by the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office.
Watch her answer.
These weren't unfounded rumors, as you suggest. It actually turns out law enforcement had to act because a sexual assault occurred. So giving this, I'm assuming that until now you were unaware of what happened here, and you're going to update your testimony for the committee. Is that correct?
Oh, okay. So her answer wasn't in that clip. Hang on. Let's move over. Here's another clip of the same exchange.
It turned out had committed because a sexual assault occurred. So
this is from Ezra Nomani,
until now you were unaware
who was there that day.
what
That
happened here. You're going to update your testimony for the committee. Is that correct?
Thank you, Representative. What I was referring to in terms of unfounded rumors was that the perpetrator was trans. At the time, there was no indication, and later it came out that the perpetrator was not have any trans identity. And
I'm out of time, but the only thing I'm going to say is this. This is an example of what is concerning us in America. We have to be very careful not to quickly label groups and people just because it's politically convenient, which has been one of the issues in this committee. We have to be very careful about this. We are all Americans. We do not want violence against any citizen. We want all people to be safe in America. We want all people to speak freely in America. That is the thing that will actually help us cure some of this violence extremist issues we currently have in the United States. I yield back.
Okay, so her answer was, oh, I wasn't objecting that the parents were violent. I was objecting that they were violent because they said the boy was trans. That was the left wing and the media narrative and the school board. That was their narratives, that the boy was trans. And that, so if a boy comes to school wearing a dress, it goes into the girls' bathroom, what do we do about that? Alejandro doesn't seem to have an answer. Other than, well, I guess we just ask them if they're trans. Well, this is this whole bathroom issue, this whole predator issue in a nutshell. What if they lie? Are we supposed to ask? How much do we dig into the personal lives of these children and what their identity are? These are the things that people like Alejandro don't want discussed in a polite society. These are things that the Loudoun County School Board didn't want addressed in a polite society. That's why they brushed it under the rug. That's why the parents were angry. Because the school board framed it as, we have to have an open bathroom policy for students that may or may not identify as trans. You can't have it both ways. You can't have a policy that says you're free to identify as whatever you want with no verification, no way to back up what you say. You are what you are. You're non-binary. You're gender fluid. You can come and go, and it doesn't matter. But then when somebody rapes someone in the bathroom, well, they're not real trans. No true Scotsman. They're not true trans. That's your answer when you're asked in front of Congress why you're demonizing parents for being upset at a rapist in their daughter's bathroom. So while we're on Weirdos testifying before Congress, my show prep was a little bit... I missed one clip that I wanted to play for y'all. Where did it go? Wow, a lot of news happened today on some of these websites. Okay, here we go from Breitbart, and I'll restart this here in a second.
Chairwoman Waters.
And I'd like to thank you, Mr. John Ray III.
Chairwoman Waters.
For your presence here today.
Chairwoman Waters. I've not had an opportunity to testify or to question the witness.
So this is the FTX hearing. So if you're not familiar, Sam Bankman-Fried, the whole FTX scandal, I haven't really talked a lot about that on this channel, but the guy ran a crypto platform, a lot of celebrities, a lot of politicians invested in it, invested in him and his vision. Sam Bankman-Fried, a bunch of money comes up missing. He comes up missing in the Bahamas. He gets arrested the day before this hearing. And his lawyers are now testifying in his place, even though he's been subpoenaed. And Maxine Waters, who has been seen in photographs with Sam Bankman-Fried, smiling, laughing, carrying on, who has invested in FTX, attempts to call a recess and say thank you for your time before all the Congress members get a chance to
I'd like
question.
to thank you, Mr. John Ray III.
Chairwoman Waters.
For your presence here today.
Chairwoman Waters. I've not had an opportunity to testify or to question the witness.
I'd like to thank you for your presence.
Chairwoman Waters.
And for the time.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Yes.
Are all members entitled to question witnesses?
You are, and if you would like to miss the votes on the floor for everybody.
Hey, it's
just
the
one
chairwoman's
moment.
prerogative to call
Just
a recess.
1 moment, please.
That's your decision, not mine.
Just 1 moment, please. You may go right ahead and have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're certainly welcome, sir.
And again,
And I'd like to-
same bullshit. You know, if you want us to miss votes on the House floor, then I guess we could stay here for another 5 minutes and have our constitutional duty to question witnesses in one of the biggest financial scandals in the past 20 years. Moving on. So yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried fucking locked up right now. Probably. Is he going to stay there? Is he going to get Epsteined? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think is going to happen to Sam Bankman-Fried. They've waited now almost a month since the scandal broke to arrest this man. And now they arrest him the day before a congressional hearing in which he's subpoenaed to testify. They're covering something up. That's my opinion. So here we go. Here's a quick news story. We're going to try to run through the next three pretty fast and then jump back into the Twitter files. So we have Printful. Prints custom products on demand for online businesses and ships each order their customers around the world. So I'm assuming this is a merchandise company. I don't know shit about Printful. Leave me a comment below if that's not true. Printful suspends services for gays against groomers over transphobia. Homophobia and transphobia. And they gave a statement that says, you know, our organization does not align with the views of homophobia and transphobia. So yeah, here we go. Gays against groomers not allowed to do business. And so let me just state one thing for the record. This word, groomers, when you call it homophobic and transphobic, what you're saying is that to be gay or to be trans is inherently groomer behavior. You're the homophobe. You're the transphobe. All we're saying is, leave the fucking kids alone. But when you say that saying leave the fucking kids alone means you hate gay people, you hate trans people, you are saying that to be gay or to be trans is to be predatory toward children, and I reject that point of view. All right. Oh, here we go. How many of y'all out there attended the world's largest furry convention? What is up with my framing here? Let me try to readjust this here. Try to readjust my framing so y'all can see the videos I'm playing instead of half the screen. Is that you? Is that you right there? Or right there? Hey, if that's you there in the orange, right there, the orange cat, the orange and black cat, leave me a comment. Furries are the most degenerate, disgusting things on the planet.
It's a place for everyone to come together. It's an incredibly inclusive event. We represent every continent.
Who is this chicken? Why is she not in an animal costume? Assistant Director of Programming for FurFest 2022. Put on a damn tail. I don't care if it's one of them little furry butt plug things. Put on a tail.
Except Antarctica. We have over 50 different countries.
I mean, for dear God, put a mask on.
Here.
We'd rather see a chipmunk face than a chipmunk face.
It's just a really amazing melting pot of people just celebrating the culture of furry.
Yeah, this yellow dude in the baseball jersey. Yeah, no, you're the furry version of.
It's a way to express yourself. You know, there's a lot of people there.
The furry version of one of those kids who don't have any friends, and yeah.
Just trying to
incel. Furry version of an incel.
Use the politically correct term here. You know, they're not very outgoing in their everyday life. But then when you come here and you're among a whole bunch of other people that share a common interest, it allows you to express yourself and you don't really feel any fear anymore of doing so.
A lot of the community and these relationships are built online. And these conventions are an opportunity for everyone to come
You're
together
kidding.
and share
You
the
mean
experiences together.
You mean relationships between people in gigantic neon fursuits don't just meet at their local fucking Starbucks? I'm fucking shocked. They meet online.
And just be within the community in a situation that, you know, is unlike anything you'd see outside of this.
When I was growing up, I felt really alone, and the furry community was what kind of helped me get socialized and find some of the best friends in the entire world.
Some of the best friends in the entire world. Entire world. I'm assuming this person hasn't traveled the world very much.
I'd highly encourage anybody to come and check one of these out. They're a lot of fun, these cons, and who knows, you'll never know what you'll find that you really connect with you. There's stuff here for everybody.
Wait. Did that white thing just give the sexual the two finger salute there? The very naughty white wolf. Okay. So that's that degeneracy. Hopefully everyone here was in attendance. I'm not gonna look. I may have been making fun of them, but I'm not here to kink shame. If you're into that shit, you're into that shit. I love fucking degeneracy. Go be you. You be you. You do your kinky thing. But come on. We meet on the internet, and you know, some of the fashion they put over the costume, it's not, some of that, it's just not for me. And I'm more than happy to give you a ribbing. I'm give you a ribbing. And, you know, like I said, if you're one of these folks, feel free to comment below and let me know what you think of my kinks, whatever they may be. Okay, so let's go on to this. John Brennan, Mr. CIA himself, John Brennan. Dr. Fauci is a national hero who will be remembered for generations to come for his innate goodness and many contributions to public health. Despite your business success, you will be remembered most for fueling public hate and divisions. Oh, now he's talking about Elon Musk. You may have money, but you have no class. Because Musk said, my pronouns are prosecute/Fauci. Now, he's also getting all the Alexandra Calabeo and that crew saying that by making fun of pronouns that he's a transphobe. Woohoo! Okay, I don't have a lot to say to that except for Dr. Fauci is a habitual liar. Lied before Congress several times. Lied to Senator Rand Paul. And he's been involved in shady shit from the torture of dogs by studying flies eating their fucking faces off, to lying about just about every pandemic we have ever had up to, including and purposefully, yeah. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about. Let's move along to Wonder Woman. Now, I didn't cover it on my last show, but Wonder Woman 3 has been canceled by Warner Brothers. And I guess over the last few days, there were a lot of speculations that maybe it's because director Patty Jenkins was throwing a hissy fit over people not agreeing that her script was the right direction. So let's see what she has to say here. Sigh, I'm not one to talk about private career matters, but I will not allow inaccuracies to continue. Here are the facts. I originally left Rogue Squadron after a long and productive development process. So Disney, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, she was working for it. It became clear it couldn't happen soon enough, and I did not want to delay Wonder Woman 3 any further. When I did, Lucasfilm asked me to consider coming back to Rogue Squadron after Wonder Woman 3. I was honored to do so, so I agreed. They made a new deal with me. In fact, I'm still on it, and that project has been in active development ever since. I don't know what will happen or not. Or I don't know if it will happen or not. We never do until the development process is complete, but I look forward to its potential ahead. So she's already promoting her next project. I guess there were rumors that Star Wars was looking at canceling her also, but when there started being backlash about Wonder Woman 3 not happening, the attractive clickbait false story was that it was me that killed it or walked away started to spread. This is simply not true. I never walked away. I was open to considering anything they asked of me. Time to bend over and apply some lube. Anyway, it was my understanding that there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they're having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now. I do not want what has been a beautiful journey with Wonder Woman to land on a negative note. I have loved and been so honored to be the person who got to make these last two Wonder Woman films. She's an incredible character. Living in and around her values makes one a better person every day. I wish her and her legacy an amazing future ahead, with or without me. She goes on to thank Linda Carter and Gal Gadot and blah, 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 and thank the fans and thank the journey and thank the struggles and thank you. So, but ultimately what she said here was a whole lot of a nothing burger. DC is changing direction. They don't want to put out garbage anymore. Wonder Woman 84 was garbage. And they're taking a different direction. Amen. Thank you, Warner Brothers Discovery. So there's that. We covered that. Now we're on to Twitter Files Part 5 with barely 15 minutes to spare. Oh, sorry. You got a little look at my likes. Sorry about that. On the morning of January 8th, President Trump, with one remaining strike before being at risk of permanent suspension from Twitter, tweets twice. At 6:46, the 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America First, and Make America Great Again will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. To all of those that asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. For years, Twitter had resisted calls from both internal and external to ban Trump's on the grounds that blocking a world leader from the platform or removing their controversial tweets would hide important information that people should be able to see and debate. When this thing happened, I was telling everyone that day, this is the craziest thing I have ever seen in my life. The idea that the entirety of media, the entirety of our national media, from ABC, CNN, CBS, all the newspapers, and social media, all at the exact same time, shut down all communication from the leader of the free world, from the head of government. He still had 15 days left in office, and he was not allowed to communicate with his constituents in any way except for on the official White House website and his own personal websites. Everything else had him on silence and lockdown. The ability for a media, for a mainstream national media to do that to a sitting official is insane. Our mission is, so number 5, our mission is to provide a forum that enables people to be informed and to engage with their leaders directly, the company wrote in 2019. And they have a whole blog post here. Twitter's aim was to protect the public's right to hear from their leaders and to hold them account. But after January 6th, as Taibbi and Schellenberger documented, pressure grew, both inside and outside of Twitter, to ban Trump. There were dissenters inside Twitter. So I don't know if this is the same dissenter from before, but let's go ahead and give another cheers anyway. Cheers. Oh, by the way, before we cheers that, let's go ahead and take 2 drinks. 1 cheers for that and 1 cheers for the furries. Cheers for the furries at the Midwest Furry Convention. And now cheers for this comparison to China, whoever you are, Twitter employee. All right. Got our whiskey on. Maybe because I am from China, I deeply understand how censorship can destroy the public conversation. I understand this fear, but I think it's important to understand that censorship by a government is very different than censorship of the government. First Amendment in the U.S. and similar legislation in other countries with similar concept exists specifically to prevent the government from silencing the people. Okay. I'm really going to have to... I'm going to save this image... because I'm going to do a breakdown of that sentence. I respect that, but realistically, we impose far stricter rules on effectively everyone else on the platform. We started labeling restricting his tweets when they became a threat to democracy. And seemed like that was our red line. Yesterday, he clearly attempted to overthrow our democratic system of government and showed no signs of remorse. Receipts? If this is not a clear reason to suspend him, I'm not sure what would be. Shrug. Voices like that would appear to have been a distinct minority within the company. Across Slack channels, many Twitter employees were upset that Trump hadn't been banned either. After January 6th, Twitter employees organized to demand their employer ban Trump. There is a lot of employee advocacy happening, said one employee. Still struggling to understand the decision not to ban Trump altogether, given he's inciting people to violence that has led to people being killed. Source. And I think we owe people an explanation externally. So just lies. This is elephant in the room, more lies. Feels like Twitter policy is engaged with someone acting in bad faith and we won't acknowledge it. Do we have any belief that Trump will stop tweeting incitements to violence? If Alex Jones was shut down for get your battle rifles, he's far exceeded that standard. I think a lot of employees must share these concerns. Is there any sort of channel or group where we can organize more action? There's a lot of employee advocacy happening both here and hashtag #CUTUBEAMUJackAMA. I understand he was our president, and that may have been the reason why we were hesitant to do it, but I think come January 20th, there is absolutely no excuse why his account shouldn't be suspended for good. We have to do the right thing to ban this account, said one person. Pretty obviously, he's going to try to thread the needle of incitement without violating the rules, said another. In the early afternoon of January 8th, Washington Post published an open letter signed by over 300 Twitter employees to Jack Dorsey demanding Trump's ban. We must examine Twitter's complicity in what President-elect Biden has rightly termed an insurrection. The Twitter staff assigned to evaluate tweets quickly concluded that Trump had not violated Twitter's policies. I think we'd have a hard time saying this is incitement, wrote one staffer. It's pretty clear he's saying American patriots are the ones who voted for him and not the terrorists. We can call them that, right? From Wednesday. Don't see the incitement angle here. So yeah, some people, some employees were saying, yeah, this isn't necessarily, here we go. I'm not seeing clear coded incitement in the Trump tweet, wrote Annika Navaroli, a Twitter policy official. I'll respond to the elections channel and say that our team has assessed and found no violations for the Donald J. Trump one. And she does just that. As an FYI, safety has assessed the tweet Trump and determined no violations at this time. Later, Navaroli would testify to the House January 6th committee. For months, I had been begging, anticipating, and attempting to raise the reality that if we made no intervention into what I saw occurring, people were going to die. So she's saying, yes, there's no violation, but we have to do it anyway because people are going to die. Because it's a call to violence. It's not an outright call for violence. It's a dog whistle. Twitter safety team decides that Trump's 7:44 a.m. Eastern tweet is also not in violation. It's just to say he's not attending the inauguration. To understand Twitter's decision to ban Trump, we must consider how Twitter deals with other heads of state and political leaders, including in Iran, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. 2018, Ayatollah Khamenei tweeted, Israel is a malignant cancerous tumor in the West Asian region, blah, blah, blah. It's possible, and that will happen. Twitter neither deleted this tweet nor banned Khomeini. In October, a Malaysian prime minister said some spicy things about millions of French people. Twitter deleted the tweet for glorifying violence, but did not ban him. Muhammadu Buhari, president of Nigeria, incited violence against pro-Biafra groups. Those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war will treat them in the language they understand. Twitter deleted the tweet but did not ban Buhari. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed calls on citizens to take up arms. Twitter allowed the tweet to remain up and did not ban the Prime Minister. And you can see the tweet here. This tweet violated the Twitter rules about abusive behavior. However, Twitter has determined that it may be in the public interest for the tweet to remain accessible. Why couldn't they just add that tag to Trump's tweets? Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government threatened to arrest Twitter employees in India to incarcerate them up to 7 years after they restored hundreds of accounts that were critical of him. Twitter did not ban Modi. But Twitter executives did ban Trump, even though key staffers said that Trump had not incited violence even in a coded way. Less than 90 minutes after Twitter employees had determined that Trump's tweets were not in violation of Twitter policy, Vijaya was asked whether it could in fact be coded incitement to further violence. Thanks. The biggest question is whether a tweet like the one this morning from Trump, which isn't a rule violation on his face, is being used as coded incitement to further violence. If you have any context or insight we should consider, I'm all ears. Example, using the term American patriots, and they will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. This is an interesting question. I'm going to speak with my team to see if we can run a quick survey to reactions to the language contained in the tweet and get back to you. So they're going to do a real-time study on whether people took American patriots and they will not be disrespected or treated unfairly as a call to action among right-wingers. They were going to do a real-time check to see if people were responding, saying, oh yeah, we got to do something about it, to see if they took it as a call to action. I'm not sure I would rely on a survey. I worry about how that would be perceived externally. Wonder if we have anything in past research that could be relevant. See, she doesn't want to do it in real time. She wants to check back to previous interpretations of American patriots. The team scale is asking if you would consider Trump's tweet for GOV if we consider American patriots to refer to the rioters. They have a point. From my point of view, my laptop is frozen, rejoin ASAP, blah, blah, blah. Scale said they understand our position but will continue to push their GOV assessment with leadership. They see it that he is the leader of a violent extremist group who is glorifying its group and recent actions. Do you think we should square off GOV in the DJT assessment, or would it be helpful at this point? And again, Navaroli, I think it could be helpful to maybe have a write-up of what a violation assessment could look like, just in case scale tips the balance and that becomes the decision. Things escalate from there. Members of the team came to view him as the leader of a terrorist group responsible for deaths and violence comparable to the Christchurch shooter and or Hitler. And on that basis, the totality of his tweets, he should be deplatformed. They will continue to push that argument with leadership. We'll see where it falls. 2 hours later, Twitter executives host a 30-minute all-staff meeting. Jack and Vijaya answer staff questions as to why Trump wasn't banned yet, but they seem to make employees angrier. Multiple employees quoted the banality of evil, suggesting that people implementing our policies are like Nazis following orders. Relays Joel Roth to a colleague. So yeah, we're Nazis if we're platforming Nazis. And clearly Donald Trump talking to American patriots is Nazi platforming. So Dorsey suggested simpler language to explain Trump's suspension. God help us, this makes me think he wants to share it publicly. 1 hour later, Twitter announces Trump's permanent suspension due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Many at Twitter were ecstatic. They're saying, oh my God, yes, piece of history, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to make this quick because we're approaching the hour mark here. Congratulatory big props to whoever entrusted in safety is sitting there playing whack-a-moling these Trump accounts. By the next day, employees expressed eagerness to tackle medical misinformation as soon as possible. What does that sound like? For the longest time, Twitter's stance was that we aren't the arbiter of truth, wrote another employee, which I respected, but never gave me a fuzzy feeling. Twitter COO Parag Agrawal, who would later succeed Dorsey as CEO, told head of security Mudge Zatko, I think a few of us should brainstorm the ripple effects of Trump's ban. Agarwal added, centralized content moderation, in my opinion, has reached a breaking point now. Outside the U.S., Twitter's decision to ban Trump raised alarms, including with French President Macron, German Prime Minister Merkel, Mexico's President Lopez Obrador. Macron told an audience he didn't want to live in a democracy where the key decisions were made by private players. I want it to be decided by a law voted by your representative or by regulation governance, democratically discussed and approved by democratic leaders. Merkel's spokesperson called the Twitter's decision to ban Trump from its platform problematic and added that the freedom of opinion is of elementary significance. Russian opposition leader Navalny criticized the ban as an unacceptable act of censorship. Whether you agree with Navalny and Macron are the executives at Twitter. We hope the latest installment of Twitter Files gave you insight into that decision. From the outset, our goal of investigating this story was to document the steps leading up to the banning of Trump and to put that into context. Ultimately, concerns about Twitter's efforts to censor news about the Biden laptop, blacklist disfavored views, and ban a president aren't about the past choices of executives in a social media company. They're about the power of a handful of people at a private company to influence the public discourse of democracy. And then, of course, she self-promotes. She doesn't really say anything about when the next Twitter Files are going to drop or what they're going to be about. But there have already been some Elon Musk tweets hinting that it's going to have to do with that little medical misinformation stuff we were just talking about. And, of course, you saw the Elon Musk tweet earlier about the good Dr. Fauci. So let's go ahead and bring this back to full screen so that I could share with you a quick message. Folks, thank you for stopping by. I've been trying to do a little bit of transforming to my channel. As such, I've tried to take direction and learn more about my software, learn more about what people do on YouTube. And I'm trying to make my channel more professional. I say that as I'm like scrolling to try to find the next thing I'm supposed to do here, because I am indeed a screw up. But let's get it on. Uh-oh. So yeah, thank you for coming by. And thank you for enjoying this little adventure with me. If you can, give me a thumbs up down below. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Share this video off platform. I'm going to try to make some smaller, more shareable clips of some of my rants. That's going to take some time and editing, and I'm doing this by myself, trying to be a little more professional for you folks, trying to give you something a little more enticing to follow me for. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I will see you this Saturday, most likely at 4 p.m. If there are any changes, I will try to let you know on Twitter, Facebook, Locals, and right here on this channel. Down below, or where you could find me on all those platforms. If you look down in the description, you'll see my Twitter handle, my Facebook, my Locals, and if you're subscribed here, you'll get any messages that I can send out on the little social tab. So thank you for stopping by. What is going on here? And I will see you next time here on Mild's Culture Plate. Have a good rest of your week. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub it in real good. What is going on here? There we go. All right. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Don't get any on you. Peace. Love. Catch you then. Well, nope, that didn't work. Hang on. Almost there. Peace.
you.